Hey, Mike, you remember when you were a little kid and you were watching Saturday morning cartoons? I don't know what they had in Canada, Saturday morning dramas, whatever. And you saw the little the drink commercials for Kool-Aid, and the Kool-Aid man broke through the wall and said, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." You remember that?
Oh yeah, man.
We're doing breakthrough quarterbacks. Schultzy, our
What
producer.
up?
Hey,
How's it
hey,
going, guys?
everybody! I have an announcement. We have a producer. You know how I turn my head to the side and I yell, producer. Well, now we have a guy to push that button. His name is Schultzy. He's our
Oh,
partner over at Player Profiler on the news desk. He's also our partner over on our show on the Dynasty Pulse on the Fantasy Football Plus and Undroppables networks. And he's in the building. So let's get the show started. Producer. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. We're talking about breakouts. We're talking about QB breakouts today, and I'm leading off. Uh, how are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing awesome, man. It's becoming summertime here where I come from in Canada, which you probably had it about a month ago, but the weather is changing and the forecast for fantasy football is changing too. And we want to hear about Biggs's breakout players for the quarterback position for 2024. Let's hear your first one, bud.
My first one is the weather in Southern California, where I was yesterday morning, where it was 103 degrees at 11 o'clock in the morning. It was also about 100 in Arizona because yesterday I drove 12 hours from Phoenix to home after visiting my kid for his birthday. And it was awesome. The visit was awesome, but the 24 hours total of driving between Saturday and Wednesday, not quite as awesome. Anyway, my quarterback breakouts. Uh, my first one is Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell is going to win the job as the starting quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, and he had an abbreviated rookie season in which he showed that if you want a guy who's going to be a 15 to 20th ranked quarterback on your NFL football team, and you can pair him with a top 10 defense, you just might have a chance to make it to the playoffs. Aiden O'Connell is very experienced. Everybody was talking about the fact that Bo Nix coming into this draft had more snaps than any quarterback in college football history. Aiden O'Connell was right up there. He had 6 years at Purdue and had plenty of experience in college. So it wasn't as harsh a transition for him to move into the NFL. Threw a lot of really nice deep balls, showed poise in the pocket. He's not athletic in any stretch of the word, but he should have a quote unquote breakout this season. Bryce Young, I've talked about him on the pod before. He's going to hopefully take that next step forward. Dave Canales is his offensive coordinator, and my spotlight is going to come a little bit later. After let's get a couple of yours, Greinberg.
Yeah, man. I like yours. I like where your head's at. I like these two guys coming off their rookie seasons,
That's what
coming
she
in
said.
and you know what? They both got the opportunity to come out and make do. Aiden O'Connell's got those weapons around him, and I think what Canales is, he's the quarterback whisperer. So I'm really optimistic about what's going to happen there in Carolina. And
Interestingly,
yeah,
interestingly, I have Aiden O'Connell as my number 3 breakout and Bryce Young as my number 2 breakout. When if you look at 2023 statistics, Bryce Young didn't fare as well. Aiden O'Connell was a better quarterback. He was the second best quarterback drafted in the 2023 quarterback class. But I think Bryce Young has a little bit more potential than him, so he's higher as a breakout.
yeah, and that's a fair assessment. And for me, my first breakout, and maybe he broke out a little bit, but I think he is going to have a really strong 2023 season. And we're going to get our buddy Schultzy in here to kind of comment on that right after I talk about Trevor Lawrence. And I was looking for him to take a major step in 2023 after a really promising 2022 season. There was a ton of buzz heading into this season for a monster breakout, and I'm here to tell you that 2024, my hopes are really high for Trevor Lawrence. Over the first 10 weeks of 2023, he was averaging almost 240 passing yards and a touchdown per game. From week 11 on, he increased his passing yards and he was averaging 270 yards and almost 2 touchdowns per game. They were able to ramp up production even after losing Christian Kirk. I'm looking at a really good season here for Trevor Lawrence. They brought in Brian Thomas, a Easter on the side. I think he's going to add a really good element to that team. You know, Christian Kirk coming back healthy and a good running game. I just think they're poised for a really, really good 2023 season, and hopefully all things will come into play there. Schultzy, what do you think about your team and their situation heading into 2024? You know, Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback. Let's see what happens.
Hey, I think you're pretty damn spot on about the analysis on Trevor last year. I just pulled up a chart here before his injury, which was 12 games pre-injury, 9th in the league EPA per play, 67.9 percentage, completion percentage. He was through 14 touchdowns, like you said. The interceptions were the same number of interceptions as the final 4 games with injury. His passer rating before was 94.5. He dropped it to 74.1 post-injury. These injuries absolutely wrecked Trevor Lawrence. And I don't think people realize that. I think they just see the massive collapse that the team and the defense had, and they just say, oh, Jaguars suck, which is fair. Like the team's given them no reason to not think that. However, you break down the film, you watch Trevor, he is insane. He was playing lights out. Like I said, pre-injury, you talked about the new weapons of the speed on the outside between Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis on the other side. Those two just legit speed threats, both faster than the 2 outside guys they were working with last year in Ridley and Zay Jones. And then that's just going to create all that space for Ingram and Kirk. So, yeah, I'm all in on Lawrence this year. I don't know where he's being drafted right now, but it's too low. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yes. The flaws are coming from all over.
I am Trevor Lawrence's self-proclaimed number 1 fan, so no harsh words coming from me.
All right,
I was yelling. Awesome. I'm on mute.
Yes. Okay, we'll get you back on the screen.
I was pushing the producer buttons.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Schultzy, for jumping in there and giving us some insight on Trevor
Bye, Schultzy.
All right, so Schultzy comes in and does his cameo every once in a while, and you're going to see more of him on our show moving forward. So thanks, Schultzy, for jumping in there. And then my second guy that I think is going to be coming in, landing spot plays a significant role in the early success of the development of a young quarterback entering the league. Some of the top prospects usually prove pretty quickly that they're able to make a bad situation work, and I think that Caleb Williams is not in a bad situation whatsoever. He's in a very good situation. He's going to be set up to succeed his first year with DJ Moore, Keaton Allen, DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet. I talked about Caleb Williams in length last week, and I think that he's the type of guy that is going to be making the moves. He's going to be a potential here. He's smashing his QB 17 rank in 2024, and I have him finishing as a top 12 quarterback this year. So Caleb Williams is kind of Leb. Let's get it now. Big.
Make that
happen. Who's your spotlight?
I'm shining a beam. Now we're talking about breakouts, right? We're talking about guys who are, not a lot of people have faith in them, or they just have never performed before. Everybody has faith in this guy. He has never performed before. I'm talking about former LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels last year was 3rd nationally in touchdown passes with 40, passing yards with 3,812, and passing yards per game with 317.7. He completed 236 of 327 passes for 42 TDs and only 4 interceptions. He was the SEC, the number 1 conference in college football, SEC Offensive Player of the Week 5 times in 2023. His numbers were historic in that there are 3 quarterbacks in the NFL currently that have had seasons in college football fantasy on par with what Jayden Daniels did last year. One of them is Patrick Mahomes. The other is Joe Burrow. And the other is somebody I'm not remembering off the top of my head right now. Needless to say, those guys are in the elite tier of NFL fantasy quarterbacks. Jayden Daniels is going to cement himself immediately in that echelon, the new Commanders quarterback. He's got weapons. He's got a system with Cliff Kingsbury, who has shown that he can create a top 10 quarterback in the NFL when he had Kyler Murray in Arizona. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm tired from all that driving yesterday still. But yeah, Jayden Daniels is going to absolutely break out this year. You mentioned Caleb Williams. I would put money on Jayden Daniels having a bigger year in 2024 than Caleb Williams or any other rookie quarterback for that matter. In fact, I would say I would put money on Jayden Daniels having a bigger year than CJ Stroud this year.
Yeah, I mean, that rushing upside is elite, and
I didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, but if he can stay healthy and play a full season, I think that's what people are really looking at with Jayden Daniels. No one is doubting his talent after that year, but his size and the way he runs, it can be a physicality thing, and he doesn't necessarily avoid contact. Hopefully, he can improve on that in the NFL and play a safer game. But that's the only thing that's keeping me from putting him in that upper echelon is his running style and the longevity in that. So,
what do you think, Schultzy? Do you agree or no?
You're on mute.
He was on mute, but he said, "Yeah."
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Schultzy agreed with me. All right, who's your spotlight? Shine your light, Mike. Shine it.
My light is going to shine on a player that played just 4 games in his rookie season, but that sample size was enough to have me really, really salivating over Anthony Richardson in 2024. He went on the injury reserve in October after that AC joint sprain in week 5. He only played 2 full games, but he was the QB4 and the QB2 in those games. He's 6'4", 244 pounds. His rare combination of size and speed makes him one of the best running quarterbacks in the league. And based off that small sample size, he is an advanced passer, more advanced than people give him credit for. Now he's being, surrounded by quite a bit of weapons. Michael Pittman is locked in with that 3-year deal, $70 million. Jonathan Taylor got his deal last year. Josh Downs was a slot machine. And when Richardson was under center and he looks to build off of his impressive rookie season where he topped 800 yards, I will be covering Josh Downs on my next show. He's an incredible separator, and now he's entering his second season, and I haven't even talked about the Colts bringing in Adonai Mitchell, which adds a deep threat that can win contested catches downfield. That will certainly bring another component to Richardson's arsenal. With Taylor back healthy, Anthony Richardson is poised to have a monster breakout in 2024, where I am seeing him finish as the potential to be the QB1 overall, and that's not out of the scope of possibilities. Therefore, better get ready, get your popcorn ready. AR is ready to break out in 2024. I'm really excited to see what he can do.
With the 8th pick in the 32-team quarterback optional in the Superflex position draft that I'm in, I took Anthony Richardson. Before Caleb Williams, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Jayden Daniels, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence. It's a 32-team league. You know who my 4th-round pick was? Kirk Cousins. So I have two legitimate fantasy quarterbacks. There are 11 teams right now that have not yet drafted a quarterback. There are only 7 starting quarterbacks left on the draft board.
Yeah.
And I have 2 of them. And if one of them is left on my next pick, I'm taking the 3rd one because somebody's going to want a quarterback.
Absolutely. And
I have Anthony Richardson.
he's a great pick. I think he's going to have a monster 2024 season, and I think it's just wheels up for him heading into this season. And if he can stay healthy, just like Jaden Daniels, these guys with their rushing upside can be sky's the limit. And I think that he's built differently. And hopefully that injury bug was just a season one blip, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, that covers the quarterbacks in our first show with Schultzy joining us on the Fantasy Football Advice Network on the forecast. Thanks, everybody. You know, this show is growing. We're getting a lot of people subscribing to our YouTube channel. We're over 7,000 subscriptions on YouTube right now, which is huge. Congratulations to the Fantasy Football Advice Network. We're growing. So remember to like and subscribe to all our stuff. We got a lot of shows on the channel, so be sure to follow us everywhere you see us. Biggs, tell us where you can find all your stuff.
Well, I was going to say, shout out to all our fans in Portugal, India, and Vietnam, and let Schultzy tell us where to find all of us.
Oh, dude, you know, get on the YouTube, go find the Fantasy Football Advice Network.
Okay, and watch the other shows where we say, find me at Big Bone at FFB on the Twitter, Mike at FFConnect99 on Twitter, and Schultzy at SCHU1 TZY.
That's because I'm cool like that.
Yeah.
He spells his name like a Zoomer. Way to go, Schultzy. And as we close out every episode, we hope you win.
We hope you win. Peace out.